Greetings to everyone. It's a privilege once again to have a word with you. Uh, so, as we know that we have already done module um, module 1, 2, 5 and 6, and then we are left with module 3 and together with module 4. All right, so since we are left with this module, so I'm going to do the introduction onto this module. So in this module we are going to learn about welding at large. What is welding? How to weld? What are the materials that we are using? The tools, the equipments used, and the safety involved in this welding. Okay, so to begin with, let's start and ask ourselves, what is welding? So welding is nothing but the process of building structures by joining. Okay, so in this welding, it's a process, or this welding is a process whereby we are joining. So we are joining or we are fusing metal materials. Okay, so how do we then do this, or how do this welding okay? Okay, so this okay by melting the working piece or the metal piece by arc, as we are going to learn more what is an arc, or by flame. So the arc, will get the arc from electricity. So when we are welding using electricity, we are going to melt this working piece or this structure that we are building, or we are joining by using the arc. So the arc is the one that is going to melt this material. And then we are going to look at the gas welding, because we are having two types of welding, that is electrical welding and the gas welding. So the flame, it's when we are using gas welding. All right, let's now move to the next slide. Okay, so why do we need to weld as farmers, or why is it important to learn about welding? Okay, so from welding, we are able then to create strong joints that are durable as well. Okay, so that is why we are using, or that is why we are learning about welding, because we can create durable joints. Okay, where do we create these joints? When we are building these equipments or these implements. So these implements, they are usually attached from the tractor. So in order to build these materials, we have to weld, and we have to know how to weld. And then welding is also cost effective. That is why, remember, as farmers, we are always saving costs. So when you have a breakdown to your implement, you have to weld that which is broken from your equipment or from your implement. All right. So that is why it's so important for us to know and study about welding. Okay, let us look at the types of welding. As I've already said, we are having the main two types of welding, which is electrical arc welding and gas welding, or also known as oxy. Hey, these names. Okay, whatever. So this is gas welding. So we are using the gas here to make what? To make this flame here. All right, and then we also have electrical arc welding. So to weld or to melt our working piece here, where we are using the arc, and then we are going to look as we continue, what is an arc. So what I wanted to elaborate here is that we are having two types of welding, that is electrical arc welding and a gas welding. Right. So in electrical welding, we are having three types. That is known as stick welding, MIG welding, and the TIG welding. So in order for us to melt the working piece here, we are using the arc to melt. Whereas we are going to learn more about arc. So here with these three, we are using the arc to melt the working piece. So here we are using the flame from this gas. All right. Now let's look at the terminologies involved in welding industry. All right. So we are going to start with the electrical arc welding. So we are going to use the terminologies in electrical arc welding. So this welding we are using electricity. All right. So how does then this welding occur? All right. What is electrical arc welding? Or what is electrical arc? Or what is this welding? So this is a welding technique whereby we are using or we are joining two metal pieces by heating. So this heat is generated by what? By the arc. So this arc is this. So if you are looking at this picture, this electrical what that is occurring here is what we call arc. This is an arc. This is electrical arc. Okay. So what happens here scientifically? So this arc is caused by the electrons that are trying to jump from this point here to this point here. So this thunder like structure here or lightning here or this lightning here is caused by electrons trying to skip from this point here to this point. Remember, electric electrons move at a complete second. So what is a complete second? So here, for instance, let's say this equipment here or this machine here acts as a battery. So electrons will move from this source via this line here or this wire or conductor here. Okay. And then when it comes here, remember there is a gap there. So that is why you have to consider your gap when you are welding. As I am going to teach you or give you a practical on how to weld, we have to consider the gap between here, because that gap here generates the heat. That's the heat that we want to use to what? To melt this working piece here. All right. So these electrons will try to skip here, and then there will be an arc here occurring here. All right. By those electrons that are trying to skip from this electrode here or electric or welding rod to the working piece, and then the electrons will continue back to your source and then come back again. All right. So what happens here is that this machine will be connected from the plug. All right. So from the plug we are going to get little voltage, né? And then this inverter here will convert then that alternating current from Escom into direct current. Okay, so this machine is capable of doing that. And then this current here will move from this machine via this wire or this conductor via your what? Via your electrode. Or yes, your electrode or your welding rod. All right. And then the electrons will try to skip within that gap, trying to come back. So that's how your welding occurs. All right. So we already discussed what is electrical arc. Electrical arc is the discharge of electrons. Okay, here at this gap here. All right. And then let's look at what is a flask and what is a slang. All right. So a flask is a grayish cover here. So this is an electrode. Okay, let us check on this slide how what is electrode. Okay, this is an electrode or a welding rod. So we attach this electrode to our electrode holder here, and then this electrode wire or this electrode holder will be connected from your welding machine here. Okay, and then it will hold your electrode. So your electrode then is made up of this flask here, this grayish color here, and then is made up of also a material or metal material here. All right. So what is a flask? So a flask is a protective coat that protects your welding during welding. uh, this coat here melts together with your welding. All right, so it protects then your welding as you are welding here. All right, remember we are having the atmospheric gases such as carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and oxygen. So this coat here protects this weld. Why? When this welding fuses together with those gases, your welding will be weak. So hence we have to have a flask. So a flask is this protective layer here protecting your welding. And then what is a slang? A slang then is a leftover of this coat. So after welding, there will be a coat here left after welding. That is a slang. That is why we have to clean your welding after welding so that your welding will be strong. All right, in electrical arc welding we are having three types of welding. Okay, that is shield metal arc welding and the gas metal arc welding, and also with the tungsten inlet gas welding. All right. So we are also going to look into details these welding techniques. All right. Um, all right. So I think we have to stop here for now, and then I will continue with the types. Okay, we are going to look into details. What is shielded metal arc welding, and then the components involved, the tools involved. Okay, and then we are going to look at MIG welding or gas metal arc welding into details together with the tungsten inlet gas welding. Okay, so we are going to stop here.